One form of entertainment that often goes unappreciated is theme parks. Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas, is home to the Southern Palace Theater. Stars like Kelly Clarkson and Betty Lynn Buckley and countless others have also performed in this gorgeous theater. Today, we'll get a behind-the-curtain look of the real-life highs and lows of performing in a theme park.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Andrew Davidson.
My name is Emily Pham.
My name is Evan.
My name is Sawyer Bell.
My name is Britton Melton.
And this is Behind the Scenes at Six Flags Over Texas.
Favorite part about this show is this cast is we're tight, but it's also just because like we come in with great attitudes, and so it's like, yeah, the first relationship we have is contracted performers that are coworkers, but like especially with this cast, it's an honor that I get to be your guys' friend too.
I would say my favorite thing would be just the magic of getting to be on stage and feel the energy and the adrenaline from the crowd, because I remember being a kid and I've done dance and theater my whole life, so just growing up and seeing shows and loving them so much, and now getting to be the person on stage, and I just think it's the greatest thing in the world.
I think my favorite thing is when I disassociate on stage and when I come to and I just can feel the audience and just see, I have like that external crisis moment where I'm like, oh my god, everyone's here to see me. Everyone's here to see, like, you know, the show. And it makes me feel really privileged to know that people really appreciate to come out and see like what I like doing.
Favorite thing about the show is the people that I've met.
My favorite part about being a Santa, well, Hey Santa's a lot of fun. That's my solo. I just like to jump and dance and move around. It's not a very vocally challenging song, which means that I get to be super active with my body, which I like doing. I've always enjoyed harmonies. At Southern Palace, we have such a great group of singers. I really enjoy harmonizing with everyone.
My favorite part about the show is how festive and how fun Christmas shows are. It is just all smiles, all fun, everyone coming together to celebrate such a special time of the year. Well, the hardest part of the show is definitely the reblocks, but it's also the best part of the show because as much as we do the show, which we've done the show for like 2 months now, it is so beautiful that we can come together as a cast when we can perform the show in a new light, and it makes sure that the audience always feels like it's the same show. And it's important that we do reblocks because people are always injured or sick or something comes up, but it makes us come closer as a family so that we can come together and make sure that we give the same product that we are paid to do. The most challenging part about the show is probably just the choreography and the repetitiveness. It's all good choreography, it's very doable, but it is hard on the body.
The hardest thing, I think, is the preparation. We didn't get a lot of time to prep for the show. We got kind of a diminished time frame to learn the show, but we're rolling now.
I would say all the goodbyes. I think one of the hardest things is we have really intense friendships because we go through hell weeks, you know? So we have all these trauma bonds that we make with these awesome performers, and it only lasts for, if you're lucky, 8 months, you know? So I would say the hardest thing is, and probably the thing I'm worst at, is saying goodbye to people.
Physically how demanding it is. Like we are fully athletes, and it's especially a show like this where there's just so many numbers and so many quick changes.
I think how many shows we do a day, probably. The rehearsal process was kind of uniquely challenging because it was so quick. You know, we didn't have the amount of time that most people usually have for a show like this. So that part was challenging, but that's not typical. I guess what's more typical is that we do, you know, 4 shows a day, 4 Southern Pals, and then we do Jolly Holiday at the end of the day. I mean, that's a challenge in and of itself. I mean, the repetition drive you crazy. So.
I come in, I listen to some music, I put my makeup on, sometimes I eat and talk, and that's it. I put my makeup on.
I would say that my prep for any kind of show day is I like to get into the space a little bit early. I like to come in and just kind of like see what the energy is. Like, it can be totally different outside than when you walk in, you know? Honestly, I have like 4 people that I'm allowed to like receive text messages from. Other than that, I try to block out the outside world because honestly, this is my safe place. Everyone has their own way of escaping, and performing's always been mine. So I don't really want to let outside things affect and bring on here. So even when I'm on stage, like, I like to make up a character. Like, this show is not a character show, but if you ever ask me a background, I have a whole thing made up in my head about my character, each song, whatever.
A day in the life of Emily Pamela's show day. You want a big enough breakfast to like prep you and energize you. So a very perfectly sized breakfast. A good amount of sleep, definitely a lot of coffee, especially now a Christmas coffee. And get here early and start warming up and stretching and doing abs and cardio and all the warming up. And hair and makeup takes a little while, so I gotta do all the hair and makeup. And then just start going over any notes from the previous day and setting costumes, and yeah, then it's showtime.
Usually for me to get ready, I make sure to like pre-fix my hair, do all of that the night before. So when I wake up, I can roll out of bed, just brush it out, and it already looks good. I show up on time, do a lot of stretching, and...
Well, I like to sleep in because sleep is of course the most important thing. So usually I'll just get lunch on my way to work, and then once I get here, I remain as calm as possible until it's like 10 minutes before places, and then I get dressed and I place my stuff and, you know, try to take care of my body. I do stretches with the cast and stuff, but, you know, mostly I try to stay relaxed, conserve the energy for the stage.
The day in the life of Britton Melton on a show day is me waking up and taking my dog outside. Actually, my dog wakes me up, and I go take him on a walk. I take him to the dog park for about 30 minutes, and then I go take a shower. I go do my face CeraVe, all that fun stuff. And then I come here, I drive about 20 minutes, and I show up to Six Flags, check in, walk to the venue, sign in with Chris. I make sure I am nice and stretched so I don't pull anything. I would do mic check, and then we start the show. It really is important in that like 30 minutes to an hour break in between shows, depending on which, that we are warm and that we are taking care of our bodies, taking care of each other, and taking care of ourselves.
I wish that the audience knew before they walked into the theater that they could have as much fun as they wanted. Not like heckling, but shouting out, clapping, cheering in the middle of songs or dances, any of that. It helps us know that they're actually enjoying it.
I think a lot of people come to the show and we'll have insanely full houses and people will just not like react to anything. And I think they think because there's not like a story or it's not like a full-blown production that like we are like robots and just run no matter what, but we do kind of need that feedback.
Come in and have fun. we can interact with you. We want you to clap, we want you to scream, we want you to sing along with us.
It makes the show better for audiences and for performers if they're energetic and clapping and cheering and moving and talking.
I guess the difference between going to the movies, working at a regional theater, performing on TV, film, or working in entertainment theater is just the fact that you do have such an impact on the audience. It is so unique and such a valuable experience. But for this show, you can really make it your own and you can really make an impact on someone's life. I grew up coming to Six Flags Over Texas. I remember seeing All I Want for Christmas. In 2019, I was in All I Want for Christmas. And now that we're here doing this new show that won awards the past year, like, it's just so nice to, one, return and feel like you're part of a family on stage, but also feel like you have a family in the audience.
I want to go with respect for the performers. When it comes to like theater or a movie, like there's almost like social contract that we have where it's like, I've paid money to come see you, so I'm gonna sit and be quiet. Whereas theme park, that's not always the case. We have coasters going on in the background. We have, like, outside the doors right now are other actors doing atmosphere work, stuff you don't see so much at like theaters and stuff like that. So I would say like the hardest thing is the lack of that like social contract, because if they can see and hear people screaming on rides, they aren't gonna fully pay attention to us. Here it's like they can get up and leave at any time, so you have to control their attention, grab their attention, and show them like, I'm worth not riding that ride. You know what I mean?
I try to make eye contact with at least a few people throughout the show, like in the audience, especially kids. Definitely a lot of trying to engage with the audience and like spread the magic, and just thinking about how lucky I am to get to be doing what I love as my career. Like, I'm a professional performer, and that's very cool.
Work environment is a little bit different. It's a lot more casual among the cast. Since we're on contract and we learn it so quickly and we have so many more shows than I assume a usual like community theater would do, maybe like 10 or something runs, we do like over 100. It kind of becomes like our daily life routine.
We start looking at playbill and backstage as soon as we open the show because we gotta start planning. Like, we don't get to relax. For a year now, I've said I was gonna move to NYC, but some doors are opening up where that may take a back burner. But I always tell people that my next step in the journey is always just chasing my happy. Maybe you'll see me in New York. Maybe you'll hear about me in Silver Dollar City. Who knows?
I'm engaged to my amazing fiance Greg, and we are getting married next fall. Hopefully I'm in final callbacks for Hello Dolly at a regional theater in Seattle for the spring. Stay tuned for Emily Tham and Hello Dolly and for the wedding pictures.
What is next for Sawyer Bell? Well, I think that my main focus is to graduate and have a degree before I start spending my life looking for auditions.
What is next for Britton Melton? I will be at Uptown Players, where I work, and it's a regional theater in Dallas, Texas. We are the leading LGBT theater in the South. We just did the regional premiere of Pinky Boots. We always do regional premieres. Our next play is from the writers of The Golden Girls, and we have the exclusive rights for it. They're doing Head Over Heels right now. We'll be doing Cruel Intentions. So I will be at Uptown Players.
Not 100% sure. I'm going to audition for some stuff. I want to do sketch comedy and improv.
I don't want to go back to retail. I want to go back to performing.